Welcome to this tutorial on using the Data Productivity Cloud to pull an object from Salesforce using the Salesforce Query component. You can see the object on screen now. It's a list of email templates called Email Templates. We'll extract and load it into our data warehouse. Before we begin, we must ensure we have Salesforce credentials with access to the necessary data and an OAuth authentication profile already set up. First, open the branch you want to work in. I've created a branch already called Salesforce Email Templates. Next, create a new orchestration pipeline by clicking on Add and then selecting Orchestration Pipeline. Name it something descriptive like Extract Salesforce Data. Now click on the plus sign in the pipeline canvas, search for the Salesforce Query component, and click on it to add it to your pipeline. We will work in the Connect tab of the configuration settings to begin with. As we're using an OAuth to authenticate in this example, we'll select OAuth. Remember, you need to have an authentication profile set up beforehand when we are selecting this option. In the Use Sandbox property, I'll choose Yes. If you're using a Salesforce Sandbox environment, you should do the same, and if not, select No. Next, we select our previously set up authentication profile for the authentication property from the drop-down menu. You can set up your own by clicking the Manage button. Now we move on to the Configure tab of the component properties. I'll enter Email Template as the data source to specify the object we are pulling. It's worth mentioning that pulling a custom object from Salesforce is possible with this component too. You would do so by selecting it here. Then, in the Data Selection property, I'll click on the double arrow pointing to the right to select all the columns from the object. The Limit property is set to 100 by default. So if your data contains more than 100 rows, you may need to change this. After this, we can move on to the Destination tab. For the warehouse, database and schema settings, leave them on the environment default to use the defaults configured in your project environment. Then we set the target table name where this data will be extracted to. I'm going to set mine as Salesforce_email_templates. Finally, we choose a staging platform for the data before it is loaded into the data warehouse. Our warehouse is a Snowflake warehouse, and this setting has defaulted to Snowflake Managed, which makes the process easier since no additional credentials are required. However, if needed, you can select a different warehouse here, but that will require credentials to be set up for that warehouse. Once everything is configured, we'll validate the pipeline to ensure there are no errors. After validation, we sample the data, and if it all looks good, which it does, we can run the pipeline to extract the Salesforce data. Once the pipeline completes, verify that the data has been successfully loaded into your data warehouse by checking the task history and reviewing the Salesforce_email_templates table. So that concludes this tutorial on pulling an object from Salesforce using the Salesforce Query component. If you found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more videos on the Data Productivity Cloud. To learn more about getting started with Matillion, visit matillion.com. We also have other Salesforce connectors which you can find information on in the links below this video.